We're here to bring a new type of new show.
New insights, new styles, and new topics every day.
We are News Generation.
Bringing news just for you. It's Tuesday, August 25th here in Seoul. I'm Isujin, and this is News Generation. Joining us today is Cheska.
Happy Tuesday, everyone!
Happy Tuesday.
Woo!
He's with us today.
Good morning.
Good morning. And both are here to speak on behalf of people in their 20s and 30s. So it's the second day of the week, and today we're going to be talking about something we all probably have an opinion on: birthday gifts. So whether you love picking out the perfect present, prefer getting exactly what you want, or think cash is the best gift of all, everyone has their own way of doing birthdays. And sometimes what you want to receive can be very different from what you choose to give. So let's start out by talking about our personal gift giving style. What makes a birthday present truly worth receiving? So when it comes to birthday gifts, what do you usually like to give or also receive?
Susan, I think you put it perfectly. It's very different from what I want to receive and what I also want to give. So I think I have this very weird mix of like Korean and American style. So I'm not very good at asking for people for gifts, which makes it, I guess, difficult for some people to give, which is the Korean style, but I really like it when someone else is speaking clearly about their needs.
Oh, so do you think there's a cultural difference? Like in the States, people like tell people what they want.
I think
in Korea,
there's
less of that.
I think it's a lot more clear because there's things called like registry list in the States.
Right.
Like you can state what you want. Even my siblings that grew up in the state, they actually do like an actual exchange. I want this. Can you buy me this? But for me, when I have to demand or even ask people, this is what I want, I sort of feel like maybe I'm being a bit too much. Maybe I should just sit back and modestly wait for them to give me something. Yeah. So
It's like a funny thing where you don't want to be demanding.
exactly.
Or else you don't want to waste your money.
Exactly. But I
So-
do want something, but I'm like, should I? No, I'll wait.
Do you usually know what you want then?
I think so. But then I'm like, I can get it myself if nobody else gives me sort of idea. Yeah.
So I guess it really matter.
It doesn't really matter. Yeah.
Okay, interesting. So what about you, Ki?
I have a good half year to think about for both of you, so I'll start thinking now.
Actually, it's tomorrow. No, I'm just kidding.
So if it's someone I'm close to and we've exchanged the gifts for a long time, then I ask directly what you need, what you want, right? And as a matter of fact, even here at Arirang, from the show that I've hosted for 3 years, I still talk to the crew. And then what we do in the group chat is if someone's birthday shows up, then we would say, what would you guys want, right? And then we'd chip in for a decent gift, not a small one, but you know.
So everyone chips in
Everyone
for
chips
that
in,
one person.
so
Oh, that's
we don't have a
interesting.
financial burden, and the person gets whatever he or she wants.
That's very nice.
And nowadays, though, I also look at the Kakao Talk wish lists because you can actually, you know, upload the gifts you want to get.
That's like a registry list.
Exactly. And for a while, though, for those who I'm kind of friendly, but in just casual way, and I know him for business purpose, for example, then I buy the same gift. For example, like bottle of wine in $30 range, $50 range, and $70. And depending on how close I am, I just mix in a match and give that gift to them.
What about you? Do you think you know what you want usually, or are you pretty like you don't really mind like just?
I used to. I thought I was demanding, but now I'm like, I can't really say anything. That's why always I'm getting something that's good for my health, milk thistle supplies, or
Like vitamins.
or sometimes beef, Korean beef.
Beef, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure your health is going to improve though, at least. So for our weekly debate today, we're going to talk about a birthday trend that's been gaining popularity among younger Koreans: birthday crowdfunding. And it's becoming especially popular among younger people for a good reason. So, before we get right into it, can you explain what exactly is birthday crowdfunding?
Absolutely. And it's surprise, it's literally what the word says. It is a fundraising for someone's birthday gift. So basically, instead of having people gift individually, which Ki kind of mentioned, what happens is one may actually open, let's say, a crowdfunding account or even list their own bank account on the invitation or social media so that people can make voluntary donations for what they want for their birthday. So let's say rather than receiving 5 to 10 gifts that may be separate and different and may not really be something that you want, this way, the goal is to pool everyone's contribution toward the actual thing that you want. It's very efficient, right to the point, and also I think very millennial and Gen Z because you're saying this is what I want. So as an example, since I am part of the generation, I actually created my own invitation as a sample.
Wow, that's so cute.
happy birthday, Cheska.
I like your picture on the side. It's
Thank
very
you,
cute.
thank you. So that's the point. You've got to have cute pictures, cute messages. Mine is like, hey, my lovelies. I called mine friend funding, yeah. So this is the invitation. And I say the goal, which in this case was the Galaxy Fold 8,
Ooh,
obviously.
okay.
And I have my account number. And I think this part is very MZ. We're not making people make the contribution, and there's no set amount. Everything is voluntary. So if you're willing to give, graciously receive, but I don't think it's very forced is the point, yeah.
It's also so well made that I actually do want to be part of this.
Really? It will be on the group chat very soon.
I know, thank you. I'm very
For
honored.
the upcoming new phones, you're going to need about 300 people because it's going to be super expensive.
I was thinking that too. This is like, you need a lot of people to crowdfund.
I would need a lot of group chats, yeah, in place.
So it's basically like turning your birthday wish into a mini crowdfunding campaign, like Jessica said. And I heard people even come up with funny messages, as she said, and when they asked their friends to chip in to make them, make it a more fun activity. So while it may be a practical way to get exactly what you want, not everyone thinks money and birthdays are a natural combination. To find out what both of our pals think about this, we have our OX pals ready. So the first question is for today: do you think birthday crowdfunding makes gift giving more convenient? A yes or no?
Oh, absolutely.
So Jessica, we both said are more leaning towards yes. So what are your thoughts on this, Jessica?
I think so because, I mean, for convenience purpose, definitely. And also it's very fun to make the invitations. So you guys should try. But because one of the biggest struggles when getting someone a gift is trying to sort of like mind read and figure out what could the perfect gift be for someone you care about, right? So I think this way, when you state it very specifically, definitely saves time, is efficient in many ways. And also, you sometimes have to really want to give someone a good quality and expensive gift, but the price line is just too much for one person to handle. So this way, I think you kind of get to feel like a part of a project to make someone feel really happy. So I wouldn't say it's all bad. In fact, it's like being part of a feel-good campaign to make someone really happy. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it works great for someone who actually knows what they want.
Yes.
It's like for example, like Galaxy Fold. Obviously, it's hard to find one person that would be able to give you that. And yeah, I feel
You should marry that person if that comes.
exactly. That is true. So what about you, Kitty?
Well, toward the end, I kind of turned it in the middle because just if you think about a convenience, obviously, giving money for what the person wants is a lot easier, right? It's convenient, but it does feel a little bit cold for me and personal because if I receive a message like this, okay, so do they want just money? Instead of the original meaning of what the gift stands for.
Yes.
So to me, part of the meaning is for giving gift is the whole process of thinking about the other person, what he or she needs, and choosing something especially for them. And when that part disappears and everything becomes about simply sending money, I feel like we lose some of the warmth and thoughtfulness behind giving and receiving process. It may be more convenient, but at the same time, it feels a little sad and bittersweet even.
Right. I think it's also sweet to think about how this person was thinking of you, and they might surprise you too by doing that. So on one hand, it can make things much easier, more practical. Instead of getting several small gifts that you may not really need, you can put the money towards something you actually want. And for someone who is actually giving the gift, there's no need to spend hours wondering, what should I get them? But on the other hand, I mean, I can understand why some people might feel that part of the meaning of a gift is the thought and effort that goes into actually choosing something specifically for that person. So we want to hear directly from our viewers what they thought about this particular question. So we ran a poll on the IDA News YouTube channel asking, what do you think about birthday crowdfunding? So asking friends for money through social media or messages to buy a certain birthday gift. So the results were pretty decisive, actually. So only 13% said they liked the idea, while a whopping 87% said they're not fans of it. So honestly, I was pretty surprised that it was such a clear, divisive result. So it seems that for most of our viewers, the convenience of getting exactly what you want doesn't quite make up for what they feel is lost in the meaning of giving a gift, like the thought process and the thought and time that goes into someone actually picking out something for this person. But birthday crowdfunding may be just one example of a broader shift in how younger generations approach relationships, money, and social obligation. So, what does the rise of birthday crowdfunding tell us about younger Koreans thinking? Is there like an overall pattern that shows?
Sure. This trend reflects the values of Koreans' younger generation, so to speak, MZ generation. They don't want to waste too much money or too much time or energy on unnecessary formalities, and they tend to value practicality and efficiency instead. And you can see the attitude in their relationship as well. Many young people don't like putting pressures on the others, but at the same time, they want to feel like they're in the middle of something and they don't want to owe favor to anyone else. That is why we're seeing many more people keeping weddings and other family occasions small or don't invite anyone at all. They may also feel less obligated to attend every social event they're invited to, and even when friends go out for a meal, splitting the bill has become quite normal. So overall, there seems to be growing preference for relationships that are simpler, practical, and less social pressure.
And that practical mindset doesn't seem to stop at birthday gifts. It's also changed the way younger people approach traditional social occasions. So this is a big one, weddings and funerals. Now for our second debate question of the day, we once again will use our OX paddles to see what our panelists think about this. So do you think it's okay to skip social occasions such as the one I mentioned, weddings and funerals, and not give or also on the other hand expect to receive money?
This is a
What are your
difficult
thoughts
one.
on this? Yes or no? So this is such a hard one, I feel
I
like.
have to go with oh.
So Cheska say yes.
Yes.
Key, you said you're kind of on the fence a bit, but more leaning towards maybe no.
Yeah, me
So
too.
tell us what you think.
Well, as a person apparently who have hosted both of these events occasionally.
You have a lot of experience.
Exactly. The whole point of this celebration is to celebrate this happy moment together or comfort someone who is in grief, right? And especially among people who are close to us. So I don't believe it's right to look at them purely in terms of just money. Surveys actually show that many people still believe sincerity matters more than the amount of money you give, and around 90% say taking part in these occasions simply part of maintaining relationships and showing respect for the people in our lives. Surprisingly, I remember every guest at my wedding and also at my dad's funeral. So rather than completely abandoning these traditions, maybe we should look for different ways to keep their original meaning. I think funerals are especially more important in Korea. People generally try to attend in person, but even if they can't make it, they still send condolences money to pay respect and to comfort them. There are also certain customs and etiquettes surrounding funerals that younger generation can learn, not just formality, but as part of learning how to show respect and comfort someone who is in sad position.
I think this is a tricky situation, whether you're the one, for example, being part of that wedding or funeral, or for someone who has attended, it's a bit tricky. So what are your thoughts on this?
As someone who has attended both occasions, if I may speak, I think it also has to do with the practicality and the reality of the present living situation for a lot of young people. By that, I mean the cost of living is going up and the amount that we have to spend on weddings and special occasions are naturally going up as well. And I actually had this conversation with my friends yesterday who told me that they actually fear summer seasons or like wedding seasons because there's just too many expenses that are going out at attending these events, and they really feel like a financial burden as when they get these invitations. Some say they do want to show love and congratulate them, but the money part makes it really difficult to feel happy or welcomed when they receive the invitation. So that can be a lot of pressure. And that's probably one of the reasons we're seeing more small weddings and intimate family celebrations to somewhat address this challenge. In fact, one survey found that 65% of people felt burdened by the cost of giving money at these occasions, while 76% said they had attended an event simply because they just felt they had to. And especially, Ki, you mentioned it also, in Korea, I think social relationships and like companies or work is really important. So even though you're not so close, you feel compelled to go pay respect, but also pay in person as well. So I think it can put a lot of pressure or a gateway and a hurdle for feeling happy for someone and wanting to celebrate them. Yeah,
it's just a tricky thing because, I mean, sometimes you genuinely do want to celebrate this
person,
but it's not a small amount and it keeps going up, it feels like. So it is very tricky. And also for the person who's, I'm guessing, inviting someone to a wedding, you don't want to leave someone out at the same time.
Yes.
So it's really, it's an awkward situation.
And
very difficult now.
And if you think about it, like weddings and funerals happen on weekends, right? So the peak season, if you had to attend like one wedding every week, that's like 4 times just in 1 month. So my friends were saying that's like $500 just out of my pocket for nothing. Yeah.
I've attended 5 weddings a day.
5 a day?
2, I attended 3 weddings, literally.
Wow.
10, 12, 3, 4, and 6.
Oh
Wow, you have the right to speak on this topic,
Yes.
I would say.
And I'm surprised. You're very generous. I would have been on the other position.
Right. So, I mean, we have two very different perspectives here. One sees it as a practical way to reduce financial and social pressure, while the other perspective worries that relationships are becoming too transactional. And I think that tension is especially interesting because these occasions aren't usually just about money, unfortunately. They're also about showing up for the people who actually matter to us. So we wanted to hear directly from our viewers on this as well. So we ran a poll asking, what do you think about skipping social occasions like weddings and funerals and not giving or expecting gifts or cash? So the results here, as you can see, were also fairly divided, but slightly lean toward the more traditional view. So 42% said they liked the idea, while 58% felt that it's too cold. So, I mean, this is a pretty close split like our previous poll, but it does seem that more of our viewers still value the personal connection behind these occasions, even if they understand the financial burden that comes with them. And I can see why they feel that, especially for events such as funerals, when you do really want to show up and comfort that person. So that practical approach to money can also be seen in something much more familiar to us, how we split the bill when we eat out.
That's a good
So
one.
for the last yes or no question of the day, do you think splitting the bill should be the norm among friends? Yes or no?
Yes.
So Chastang said yes,
surprised
Key
to
said
hear.
no. So I'll get back to I'll get to you for this. I'm kind of surprised by Key's answer.
I'm interested too,
So,
yeah.
Cheska.
I mean, I usually prefer to go Dutch unless someone steps in, which therefore, because I'm so used to going Dutch, when somebody really steps in, I feel extra grateful because I think it's a very nice gesture from the other person. But I actually think it's nice manners to quickly pay for your share and keep it even. And in Korea, this is interesting. I think there's this idea of like, oh, I will treat you, like 내가 낼게 kind of culture as well, because there's seniors and or work colleagues that are willing to pay, which is also very nice. But I think since the introduction of Kim Young-nan Act, which actually put restrictions on certain forms of gift giving to people in certain positions, but this is really to prevent like bribing and, you know, behind the doors kind of work and favoritism. But this kind of way, it sort of could have shaped people's minds and culture around paying for something as a gift. So perhaps because I'm more used to the Western culture, I like it when friends do go Dutch, yeah.
I think it's fair. There's no misunderstandings.
Yeah.
No one's getting too burdened.
Right.
Right. So, Key, but you said the opposite, which
Yeah,
I'm very
surprised.
curious to hear why.
Well, I do split the bills, especially for those of the gatherings with my friends where I see regularly. Then it's much easier, convenient, and no one complains. But in Korea, for example, it's quite common for, like Siska said, the older person or senior pays for the bill. So in around Arirang building, the structure, I normally pay all the time. And even among close friends, we don't always calculate everything down to the last one. So one person might say, oh, I'm going to get this, right? 내가 낼게. And then the next person says, oh, 그럼 I'll take the next round, or I'll take the next time, it's on me. So it's sort of like mutual understanding, and it's a nice gesture of saying, okay, we're going to see again. So I guess it's not that all bad to you know, have someone pay for the bill, and you feel better, you know, right? So I guess that's the thing I really look for.
That's true. I guess doing that, it feels less transactional and more personal. You're actually
Right.
doing this together.
You can feel affectionate heart.
Right, that is
Yes.
true. So once again, we're seeing a difference in how people approach money in relationships. So for some, splitting the bill keeps things simple and avoids anyone feeling like they owe the other person. But for others, treating someone or taking turns paying is still an important part of maintaining a relationship. And to wrap up our discussion, we wanted to hear directly from our viewers one last time what they thought about this part. So we ran a poll asking, what do you think about splitting the bill? So the results, as you can see, show that most viewers think it depends on the situation. So the largest group, 61%, said it depends, while 32% said they like splitting the bill, and only 7% said they don't like it. So it seems like either rather than choosing between always split or never split, most people still believe that the situation and perhaps the relationship should determine who picks the bill. So there's a bit of flexibility there. So from birthday crowdfunding to skipping special occasions and splitting the bill, it seems like the way we handle money in our relationships is changing along with the time. So to really close things off, after discussing all of this, what do you think these changes say about our society today, Cheska?
I think it's really interesting because I never thought about actually crowdfunding for birthday. So when I was preparing for this episode, I actually thought this might be really good if I wanted to put my money into, like, let's say a good cause, or if I really have a goal, then this is a nice way to sort of ask people without forcing them.
Right.
But Key kind of mentioned it, that it shows the characteristic of our generation. I do agree that it can become a little bit transactional and a little bit cold-hearted. But I think the way our culture started in terms of like money giving for weddings, funerals, or even like celebrating, it always came from a good heart, and I believe it was a voluntary action. Even like paying for the bills, 내가 낼게 culture. It's to be nice. It's like an extra gesture. So I think we can keep that more beautiful if it isn't expected, and it becomes a little bit more voluntary. Because depending on certain situations, it might be very difficult for someone to put the money forward.
Right.
And we have to be sort of open to it and let people do it when they want to, and they can, and then just not take it, you know, too negatively when they aren't able to. Yeah.
Right, like you said, I think it might be better to focus on the intention rather than the amount itself. So that is true. So what are your thoughts, final thoughts?
Well, the first time I saw the birthday crowdfunding was when my friend of mine, a model, she wanted to raise a charity, and then so instead of getting gifts or anything, why don't you chip in for this thing? And
Yeah.
Right, you see celebrities do
right.
that a lot.
And another friend of mine was, you know, his dog was dying, and he needs a lot of money for the surgery. So there was another funding that he
makes
wanted to do for the birthday. So, you know, just like Cheska said, it could be for a good cause, and you know, as long as you remember what birthday stands for, you know, then I think it's just a change in culture and the generation.
I think it's a good rule of thumb to just leave it up to that person, the actual birthday person.
Right.
So it's clear that the way we approach money and relationships is changing, especially as people place more value on practicality and financial independence. But at the same time, these changes can leave us wondering whether we're losing some of the warmth and thoughtfulness that once came with giving and sharing. So perhaps the real challenge is finding a balance between being practical and keeping the human connection behind these traditions. And that brings us to the end of today's episode of News Generation. But News Gen will be back tomorrow at 10:30 a.m. Korea time with more stories and discussions. A big thanks to Cheska.
Thank you.
And also Ki.
Thank you.
For coming in. And to our viewers, thank you so much for watching. Hopefully your next birthday gift is exactly what you wanted, whether it comes wrapped or wired. We are
News
Generation.
Generation.